Hey Dills, hey Heartless. It's currently 5 a.m. here. I'm working a night shift and was listening to episode 200, and you specifically requested people to call in and tell you that the show sucks. So here I am. Make a better show, guys. What are you doing?
Welcome to episode 201 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dills. Join with me, as always, is Mr. Heartless. How you doing?
Yo, what's up?
So we got a bunch of. We didn't cover any news in episode 200, so we've got a lot of news to talk about. So we're gonna see how much we can get through. But so far, topic of discussion: Land of the Goblins came out at the beginning of almost a month ago. Damn, we got the PvP arena that was pitched to us. We have the Tomb of a Mascot Raids rewards V2. They switched up a bunch of the rewards that would be given from Raids 3. And you know what? That's pretty much it. We got other few small things like Group Ironman improvements, but more notably, it has to do with the player-owned house. So we'll get to that when we get there. How was your week? Anything going on with you on RuneScape or outside of RuneScape?
Not really. Got a couple purples recently.
Nice. Anything to get excited about?
Well, the first one was Justy Legs, so not the best. I finished full Justy. I'm not very... so it was a unique, I was really dry at top, so it was nice to get something. So I only have the Scythe and Rapier left for the log. And then at Chambers, I was doing a couple of duo CMs and I managed to get an Elder Maul, which is once again new, so we take it. It's not particularly useful, but it's nice to have, more items. So.
Is there anywhere you would actually bring it?
I take it to Fasani's Nightmare, which I also happened to learn this week.
Oh, cool. Interesting. Did you get a kill?
Yeah, I have 20 KC now.
20? Yeah. What? How many deaths did you have before you got your first kill?
About a dozen.
Dozen? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Fasani's Nightmare?
It's a fun fight, but it requires a lot of attention.
Yep.
So unlike Gauntlet, where it requires a lot of attention, but only for half of the fight.
True.
Which makes it more grindable because I like the pacing change. So I think Fasani is a little bit intense. It's good though. It's but I don't think I could sit down and smash out 2 hours of it straight. I think I'd go crazy.
Yeah, that's fair. They brought out the Nightmare of Ashiyama in 2020. That was one of the big updates they pitched at the 2019 RuneFest, I think. And then they eventually came out with this solo mode, the hard mode called Fasani's Nightmare. And really, it's like a 10-minute, it's like a 12-minute fight of constant attention and a lot of shit gets thrown at you.
It's really hard, and you make one mistake and you just get one shot.
Yeah.
So while I do like the fight and it's pretty fun, it's roughly 1800 KC to get the full armor, just the armor on an Iron Man,
right?
Which is 300 hours.
Holy shit!
And I'm just I don't think I could do it. I originally thought that was part of my resolution, but that was before Next came out. So I think I'm going to go for the tablet. So maybe about 100 KC at Fasani's.
Yeah,
get on the high
right.
scores, do the combat achievements, and then I'll probably back pocket it for a future date. Maybe just do one or two here and there, kind of like I've been doing with Corp over the last year.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it.
I don't think I have the mental to grind that kind of content. But Next at least is kind of chill. You can kind of kick back and just, click the boss. And
True.
the armor's just better. So I think I'm going to end up doing Next instead of Nightmare.
That's fair.
But I guess we'll see in the coming weeks when I kind of, hopefully get the tablet pretty soon. And then I can just kind of put it away for a little bit. I was happy to learn it, though. It was a fun process.
Yeah, I really like the fight. It is a lot of fun. As you mentioned, it's hard to sit down and just do a bunch of them. Plus, you mentioned the tablet, because the walk to the actual boss fight, it's 5 minutes. It's quite the walk from the closest bank, but
it's 2 minutes. Yeah.
Well, it feels longer.
It's 2 minutes and 10 seconds because it takes a full stamina. So yeah. It's brutal.
But there's on the Fasani's Nightmare, the solo mode version of Nightmare, there's the tablet, which allows you to teleport right to the actual fight. And it's a 1 in 100 drop. So it's kind of cool. It's a cool item to kind of grind for.
Yeah, and like getting any armor piece is like, or like, I can't remember. It's like 1 in 160 something for a drop, which is still, it's just a lot of hours per drop. I know Nex is even worse. But at least Nex is like Torva's more useful than Inquisitors. So yeah, it's good though. I'm glad I learned the fight. Definitely definitely tricky and frustrating at times.
Yeah, totally. It took me almost 70. It took me 69 deaths. Can't believe you got it in a dozen. Yeah, I was at it for a while. Yep.
Yeah, it is certainly tough. I'm still not like guaranteed to get the kill, not even close.
It's hard. There's so much that gets thrown at you. I would love to sit here and break down the fight, but there's so much that gets thrown at you that like you screw up, and sometimes you just get unlucky because when he throws a mechanic at you right before the next phase change, and then you're like, oh well, I'm gonna die. So
yeah, sometimes you have to like wait between phases, especially if you get like Parasite or something annoying. Yeah, it can be truck. I don't have claws or scythe, so I'm like dragon macing the final phase.
Yeah, nice.
Which is surprisingly good. You can like 3-hit the last phase, which is 150 health. It maxes a 66 in my gear.
That's awesome.
So and then I'm just bludgeoning the rest, which is pretty common for people. The bludgeon is fine, but yeah, scythe would be nice.
Very nice.
Though I don't think I would use it. I would just bring it for like the final phase, just to like kind of clean it up. But yeah, no, it's been good, man. So I'm happy. That's basically been my few weeks.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. On my end, it hasn't been super eventful, but I had the one thing I wanted to talk about was I got run through my first challenge mode of Chambers of Xeric.
Nice.
I hadn't run it before, which again, that's the hard mode version of the first raid that was released, and I got my first run through it. And it was surprisingly fun. I don't really do Chambers of Xeric that much anymore. I find it kind of boring. When I first was doing Chambers of Xeric, this was like, I can't even remember the year, but the way you would learn is in Void, and you would do like, people love, like I remember always loving doing duos because the trick to running the head wasn't really commonplace at the time. And so you have your first raid. If you haven't done it before, it's Jagex tried to do this piece of content which was supposed to be like kind of randomized. It was their first attempt at it on old school RuneScape, where they were trying to make it like kind of randomized, but you'd have like these key bosses that you would still bump into fairly often. What ended up happening was people figured out that Chambers of Xeric is there's a bunch of patterns that you can it's a very predictable piece of content, because there's like, I don't know, a dozen or so different types of rooms you can get, and you get like, I don't know, maybe 6. I can't remember exactly how many rooms you get, but you get
5 usually.
You get 5. Okay, so you get like 5 out of the dozen or so rooms that are available. And their idea was to make it kind of like Dungeoneering in RuneScape 3, where it was supposed to be like kind of random, almost like a roguelike piece of content. But it ended up being, people found out it was just like patterns. So you would find layouts of rooms, and you would know exactly what you're about to get into for this new raid. And it quickly became,
you just scout until you get a decent room.
Yeah, do these rooms, skip these rooms, do these rooms, and always avoid whatever. And it had to do with points or difficulty. So it quickly became, it was very like predictable of what kind of layout you were kind of looking for. And the problem with Ulm is now everyone runs the head. So this allows you to skip a bunch of the mechanics that the boss does. You can set it up so that when he goes to do some special attack, he can't find anyone and he doesn't shoot it. But when I was first running it, that wasn't the way, like that just wasn't a thing. And you would go in with Void because it allowed you to bring more food with you. If we did a duo, sometimes a trio, we'd get somebody to suicide in the room to give a bunch of supplies just in the boss fight. And the fight was really hard because you got hit with every special attack. So now when we're running the head, my point is that you're able to skip all these special attacks, and it makes the fight of Ulm being very predictable and it's really easy. because of that, I got bored of Chambers of Xeric. I'm at like 200 KC, and I just don't really run it anymore because it's not the most fun. I'll do it for like the social aspects of going with a bunch of friends and having, just having fun with other people. But I don't do it because the content itself, I don't find it that engaging anymore. Now, doing Chambers of Xeric on challenge mode was a completely different beast. Because first off, you get given every single room. So you can't set up the layout of the raid to be very easy or skip some of the hard rooms. You have to do all the hard rooms in challenge mode. And the thing is, like, everything hits like a truck. Everything hits really hard. So the possibility of someone dying, it seems like it's always there. Again, this is my first run, so maybe this changes when you're 200 KC in.
I mean, I have 70 KC, so I'm pretty experienced at them now. Yeah, it's still there's certain rooms where you're still like liable to die at any point. Specifically Mutadile, like it's the worst room, probably the hardest hitting boss in the entire game, let's be honest.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mutadile can be really, really unforgiving. But besides that, yeah, you kind of get into patterns, but it's certainly difficult. And Olm itself is a lot harder. Well, I shouldn't say it's harder. It's the same level of difficulty. He just hits like a truck. So if you have an off prayer, he starts at, I think he starts at 43 and scale. Every phase he adds 2 max hits, so he goes up to 47 max hit.
Wow.
Which is like obviously half your health. So it can be tough. Everything just hits hard.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun when I did it. And again, I do like Chambers of Xeric, but once you've done it enough times on the normal one, the only time somebody dies is if they lag or if they're still kind of learning the raid itself. It becomes quite easy. And I'm sure a lot of a lot of content is like that. But I know when I do like Nightmare of Ashiyama, or I should say Fasani's, or if I'm doing Theater of Blood, it feels different. It doesn't feel like there's a way to cheese the fights like you do with Olm, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you. It gets a little boring after a while.
Yeah, I should say it's repetitive because the Olm fight doesn't really change ever when you're running the head. There's nothing really to watch out for. You just kind of run back and forth. Anyways, that's my whole little spiel there. But when I did challenge mode, Chambers of Xeric, what makes challenge mode really cool is, one, you kind of have to not speed run it, but there's a time that you need to hit in order to get a chance at uniques, I believe.
No, it's not that. So in order to hit the special unique table, which is the kits and the metamorphic dust, you have to make time.
Okay.
You also get an additional 5,000 points for completing time. Yep. Okay,
cool. Yeah. So the challenge mode, and they do this with with Theater of Blood hard mode. You get some recolors as a little fun unique reward from the harder version of the raid. And yeah, with Chambers of Xeric,
plus the pet dust, which changes its forms.
Yeah, that's right. And that happens in Theater of Blood as well, where you can change the pet to be any boss in the Chamber of Xeric or Theater of Blood, depending on what dust you get.
And they're the best 2 pets in the game by quite a large margin.
They are really cool. And with Chambers of Xeric, you get the Twisted recolor, which allows you to recolor your ancestral from being like a blue, white, gold to like gray and a light gray and a green.
And green. Yeah, it's cool.
It looks cool. And doing my first run, I actually got one of the Twisted kits, which was really cool.
Insane.
I think it's 1 in 100. So really lucked out there.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 in 175?
Yeah, 1 in 75.
1 in 75. Okay. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. It's quite fun.
Nice. Get the gray sweats now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm still hunting my first one.
Oh yeah. It's it's really lucked out there
because they're like an hour per raid basically.
So yeah, it seems that way. And when I got it, I wasn't sure how excited I should be. I was like, I don't know how common these are.
They're cool, yeah, man. They're really cool.
Quite neat. So yeah, there was that's pretty much all I really wanted to touch on for this week. But we do have a bunch of news to cover, so I don't know. Why don't we hop into the news?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's see. What do we got? Okay, the first piece of news: Land of the Goblins. This is a continuation of the Dorgeshan quest line. Have you had a chance to do this quest?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's not a bad quest. We won't really go into all the nitty gritty of it, but it was pretty decent. I enjoyed it. It was okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It's not super easy, not crazy difficult either, but you might have a bit of a challenge with it. And it even comes with a mini quest afterwards that allows you to get over 40k of prayer experience. So it's a nice chunk of XP there. I highly recommend you doing it if you don't have 99 already. And yeah, I guess my only complaint for the quest itself was that it ended so abruptly. I didn't think it was the end. It was just like, oh, I can't wait to figure out what happens next. And boom, huge cliffhanger. We're going to leave the rest for another quest.
Obviously setting up for a Grandmaster quest to close out the Goblin line.
Yeah, it seems that way. But yeah, it's cool. We finally get to wear Goblin chainmail, everyone's dream. So spoilers, yeah, you get to wear some Goblin chainmail during the quest, which is fun. And you get to go back to the Dorgeshan city. I think it's one of the most underrated places in RuneScape. I wish there was more things to do there because it's a cool area.
Yeah, I agree. It is pretty cool. I really liked it. I even liked the graphical bug that came with it when you do turn into a goblin during the quest, and then you can teleport with the royal seed pod, and then you'll be bugged out and look like this freakish character.
That's funny. Yeah, I've seen a few people that. It's crazy
still in
stuff.
the game, of course.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? That's awesome.
Overall, I did enjoy this quest. It felt less. It felt on the level of the one where you go beneath the mountain, the free to play one.
Oh yeah, okay.
I quite enjoyed. Better than the night at the theater, which was kind of boring.
we don't talk about that quest.
Yeah, that quest sucked.
Yeah, a little bit rough. But yeah, the Dorgeshan area is awesome. I stumble across these, or not stumble across, but you go to these areas for a clue scroll or for a quest or for whatever reason, and there's so many parts in this game that I'm like, man, I could see there being a cool raid in this area, because the Dorgeshan city is underneath. It's underneath it's in the Lumbridge caves in the basement of Lumbridge Castle. That's how you can kind of head there. But the city itself has electricity. They're super technologically advanced. They have a train, which is friggin' cool. There's a subway system, and I don't think I've ever really been on it except for just checking it out. But you walk on the train and then you got to wait for the train to go. I love that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's even a teleport to Dorgeshan City. You can buy these orbs from the dude in the corner. I don't know if you can buy them on the G, honestly. I just get him to make them for a molten glass and 2 law runes.
Oh, yeah.
And you can also get one to Goblin Village, which is really good. They're both useful for Master Clue steps.
That's cool.
I have a bunch of them in my bank, but it's super annoying because the one to the city teleports to a random location within the city.
No way.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
So when you go to do the Master Clue step for, I think it's Sherlock, where he makes you craft a light orb and add a cave wire to it, you have to you have to tele to the city and then do that. So
oh boy,
pretty annoying, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it was overall a good quest. Happy it came out.
It's quite fun. So there's the quest for their Land of the Goblins. With that as well comes the Tazar Ket Rax's challenge. It's the new Jad challenge. That was anyone asking for this? I don't really know, but the way they phrased it was a lot different than the way it was implemented was much different than I thought it would be, because I thought it was an infinite amount of Jads you would face. You kill one dies, then 2 spawn. You kill 2 die, 3 spawns. And it would keep doing that forever until you died. That's what I thought would happen. Not really the case. It's 6 Jads, and you kill one, another one respawns, and you can see how far you can make it. That seems kind of lame, because it seems like if you could do the 6 Jads...
Wait, that came out? Didn't this come out ages ago, the 6 Jads?
Yeah. Yeah,
but we got another addition to it.
Yeah. This is it's called the Infinite 6 Jads.
It sounds garbage. Why would you put that in the game?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's so stupid. Like 6 Jad's already the only reason people do it is to get the morph on the Jad.
Yep.
So you can morph it into the Inferno Jad, which is sick. But why the hell would you do infinite Jads? That just sounds stupid.
It's not even as cool as I thought it would be because it's only ever 6 Jads. And the thing is if you watch somebody who's good at doing the 6 Jad challenge, they can just do 6 Jads forever. It's not like it doesn't ever get harder. It just stays hard.
Great use of dev time.
I don't get it. You don't really get any rewards either, except for there's a scoreboard if you want to grind out like high scores. Yeah, so that came out.
Maybe someone can do 20 hours of infinite Jads. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, maybe. It's there for the YouTubers.
For the smithing enthusiasts of the world.
Yeah, that is right. Okay, we'll move on to the next piece of content. It's called the PvP Arena. This is replacing the Duel Arena with a new PvP Arena. I'll just come out the gates and say I'm pretty excited for this. I've been kind of mentioning it on the podcast for a really long time about having a PvP Arena, which is, you know, they've done PvP tournaments, but you get your set stats and you face someone of the same stats in the same gear. I think that'd be awesome. The problem with like Soul Wars and other PvP content is like you're gonna get demolished by somebody who has a lot of money. That's not really fun. Okay, so anyways, gotta start off with a little bit of lore on this, but they say breaking news. The Emir of Al-Kharad has been made aware of illicit activity going on in the glorious old battlegrounds formerly known as the Duel Arena. As a result, all fights are now overseen by the guards of Al-Kharad. With this increased security, the locals feel safer approaching the area and even watching the actions. The tribunes are busier than ever before, with crowds cheering for the fighters below. Word has spread fast, and the challengers from all parts of the world have come to Al-Kharad to fight in the new reputable venue. People used to shy away from it, knowing that a scrap in the Duel Arena could lead down a dark path. Now, for the first time in a long time, a victory here may actually be seen as prestigious.
Still pronounce it Al-Kharad, I see.
I know, I really had to zoom over it. So nobody would notice. It'll always be Al-Kharad to me, even though I know it's Al-Kharid. It just that doesn't sound right.
Well, there's an I there, not an A, so I mean, I'm not sure who taught you, Dills. It's okay, we move on. We know how you pronounce it. I'm just gonna let you get away with it.
Yeah, just gotta zoom over them sometimes. I feel like if I say it with confidence, people won't. I'm hoping that I'm influencing a generation of players to also call it D'Herox and Al-Kharad and Ardragon, stuff like that. I hoping it becomes the norm.
It's gonna. I'm sure it'll work out for you. What do you think of the lore behind this change?
It's cool. I like how they worded it. It's kind of funny how they said, fighting in the Duel Arena used to lead someone down a dark path, which is clearly a joke at people who become gambling addicts.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the best joke, but
yeah, they're very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Aware.
They're very aware, self-aware about that as well. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Even RuneScape 3 is doing the same thing as well. Their Duel Arena is collapsed though, and it's becoming like the ruins of an old. It's like its own content, whereas we're getting it remade into a PvP arena thing. But it looks really cool. So the way it works out is, and God, if they do this right, it could be awesome. But oh God, could they so easily screw it all up and make it suck? The Duel Arena will be found in the Minigames tab, also now known as the Grouping tab, which everyone still gets confused on where it is in the menus because it freaking sucks to find. But you'll find it. You'll find a section there that will say, the PvP Arena. You can click on it and you can queue up to find a fight, which I think is awesome. You don't actually have to physically go to the PvP arena and wait for a fight to start. You could be woodcutting or AFKing something, and you could queue up and wait for, the something to prompt you to say, hey, we found a fight. Would you like to proceed and go fight them at the PvP arena? In which case you would get teleported there. So it seems like what they're thinking of doing is each week switching different account builds that you'll be using in the PvP arena. So right here they have it called maxed medium, 75 attack, 99 strength, 70 defense, 99 hit points, range, magic, and 77 prayer. You're basically a 70 defense PvPer. Another account build you'll be given is the Zerker, which you'll have 60 attack, 99 strength, and 45 defense. And there will also be the 1 defense pure account build, which is 60 attack, 99 strength, 1 defense, and the rest all 99s as well. Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish they would switch up the categories and add some new ones.
Yeah. When I first read this, what I thought was going to happen was like you would be given, here's 200 levels that you can distribute in whatever skills you want. So you could kind of build your own account. So I thought you could I want to go 70 attack, not 60 attack, and I'll have a little bit less strength instead. But it looks like instead it's going to be, you're a Zerker facing another Zerker. The next week is you're a Pure facing another Pure. And maybe they're doing that so that it doesn't become a straight, a meta. You don't want to have to face a meta account build where it's like, that's usually what happens. Okay, so you're given 200 levels to distribute into different skills. Give it a couple weeks and people will say, you should always build this way every single time.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want it to get stale. But, I mean, we're talking about the rewards, but they're interesting.
Yeah, totally. You'll be able to pick which items you want to use in the fight, which is quite cool. They say there are around 400 items you can choose from between inventory and equipment slot items.
Yeah, they're going to have to stay on top of this because metas will develop and many of those 400 items will not be used.
Yeah,
eventually.
It'd be cool. Again, when I first saw this, I was thinking it'd be cool. Like in Counter-Strike, what happens is you get given 500. When you go to do a match, you get given $500 to buy your first gun. Everyone has to start off with kind of a shitty gun. But then as you complete a round, depending on how well you did, you get more money to buy new weapons. Now, I thought it would be really cool if you could be given here's X amount of dollars. Now you have to build your account, but buying a Granite Mall might cost a shit ton. So then you got to think, is it worth buying a G Mall? Because I'm not going to have that much money to spend on other things. I might have to stick with I don't know, a magic short bow instead of being able to whatever it is, right? If you decide to go for those big ticket items, suddenly you're having to sacrifice other items or maybe food instead. Maybe you have to choose to get monkfish instead of sharks. Anyways, that's what I thought going in, or that was an idea I was thinking as I was reading this. Not quite the case, at least right now. You'll just be able to choose whatever items you want for your account build. You'll want to have some background knowledge of what items work for different builds. Right? If you're a 75 attack, you might not want to bring the DDS with you. You might want to bring an AGS instead. Or if you're a Pure or a Zerker with 60 attack, you might want to go with D-Claws over a G-Maul, or maybe both. Maybe we'll see a bunch of different styles coming out. There are a lot of items that are viable in PvP, which will be interesting.
Yeah, get the Serite crossbow. There's in Ballista. There's lots of different things that you can use. Dragon throwing knives. There's a lot of this range and melee stuff. So it's gonna be interesting. I wish they also had 2v2s and 3v3s.
Yeah, same.
Alas, it's just 1v1s, which is a little bit boring because that's basically what the wilderness is now. And multi is basically dead because multi-clans are just super toxic.
Yeah, and it's power in numbers. So
it's basically singles plus PKing in the Rev Caves is your option right now if you're a decent PKer.
Yep.
Which is sad because I think it'd be really fun to have 2v2s and 3v3s, which is more like the WoW style, right? 2v2 arenas.
And it would allow you to kind of okay, Heartless, you go on Lunars, I'll go on Ancients, or something like that,
yeah,
right?
you can venge me when this guy's about to attack me. Yeah, you could like pile one person, have like a tank. You could have like a freezer. There's a lot more that goes into when you have 4 people instead of 2.
Yep.
So communication is involved. You know, you got to put your specs on the right person at the right time. It's a very interesting concept that opens up a lot of different avenues for PKing. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. So I really hope they add at minimum 2v2s.
I think 1v1 I think they're doing it the right way. If like trying to perfect the 1v1, and then it'd be cool if they opened up 2v2s and maybe a 5v5 or whatever it is.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm on board for them adding to it. But we're going to talk about the items which you get from the arena, which are a bit more controversial, I think, than the actual arena.
Well, it'll be good to hear your take on it. But of course, there are 2 different point systems that you're going to be gaining from this. There are your rank points, which will determine what your rank is, and reward points, which we'll be able to spend on the PvP arena rewards that we're going to talk about in a minute. The rank points, I think the idea is that whatever your rank is, you'll get paired up with somebody else who's probably of similar rank, or at least close. A lot of games have this, ELO, MMR, whatever you want to call it. They have this dynamic ranking system where you're usually paired up with people around your skill level, which is really good. It's going to be interesting to see how Jagex does it, if they do it good, like if they do it well enough, because, you know, Last Man Standing has a rank system, but you could be the lowest rank and you could still get paired up to fight the number 1 spot. The ranks don't mean anything. Yeah, it's kind of, and the system's flat as well. So what a lot of ELO and MMR rating systems do, and different MOBAs or different PvP games in general, if you go on like a 5 kill win streak, your ratings kind of compound. So you start really skipping different tiers. And it's a way to get people who are like a lot better than whatever ranking they're at, to get them to their actual ranking, so they're paired up with people of their similar skill level. Nobody likes to get dumpstered. Nobody likes to face someone who is way better than them. That's just not fun for anybody. But people love pub stomping. People love just destroying somebody who's maybe a bit of a noob at the content. And you bet there's going to be people who are smurfing on other lower level accounts just to stomp through a bunch of people. So hopefully they have a way to pull those people out of the lower ranks really quickly if they are just doing really good. There is also going to be a tournament style fights, and these tournaments will consist between 4 to 64 players, and basically it'll just be 1v1 fights, a ladder system until the 2 finalists, kind of like what we see in Dead Man mode, the finals. So you can sign up for these tournaments as well. Now we'll get to the actual rewards. So these rewards are focused on PvP, so they can be only used against other players. If any of the non-cosmetic items are equipped, you will be simply unable to attack anything other than another player. Yeah, so any PvP area, you can use these PvP related items. That's Clan Wars, Fight Pits, Castle Wars, Soul Wars, PvP Worlds, and the Wilderness, of course. And to lure, so we always got to lure the PVMers into PvP content. That's kind of tradition at this point. They got a bunch of ornament kits that you'll be able to grind out for, and these ornament kits can be used on, there's going to be ones for Dragon Claws, Dragon Warhammer, Heavy Ballista, Full Armadillo, the helmet, top, bottoms, Bandos, top, bottoms, and boots, Elder Chaos robes, Dagon High robes, and an Elder Maul ornament kit. I guess people love ornament kits, so they're everywhere.
I do think they should not be related to non-PvP. I mean, like the Dragon Warhammer and Bandos and Armadillo seem out of place because those are not used in PvP, and this is a strictly PvP update.
Yeah.
So I would rather the items be more like hybrid items that both sets of people would use, like maybe carols or something cool like that.
Sure.
Maybe Void, something interesting along those lines that both PvPers and PVMers use. Mm-hmm. But Bandos is basically strictly just for PVMers. And Armadillo, I don't think I've ever seen a PvPer use Armadillo. So is yeah, I'm not sure about that one. And the Dragon Warhammer, like that just seems odd.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of more ornament kits, but yeah, they're going to be untradeable. So
yeah, funny. Like
it's a similar idea of forcing PvPers to engage with PVM content.
Yeah.
Forcing PVMers to engage with, but I mean, I guess they're ornament kits at the end of the day. So who cares?
See, I am starting to feel I have always have mixed feeling with ornament kits. They almost always look pretty cool. So I like the way they make an item look, but I never want to get to a place where players see somebody wearing maybe all their armor is like recolored and then being like, what the fuck is he wearing? Oh, that's Bandos, but it's a Bandos cosmetic.
Yeah, the Bandos one I strictly disagree with, I think, at this point, and the Arma. Dragon Warhammer, I can take it or leave it, but the armor feels just out of place.
Yeah, it depends how. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it actually looks like. But when I play like RuneScape 3 or any other MMO games, it's like common to have a bunch of reskins and recolors. But you'll see somebody and you'll be like, "Wow, I don't know what the hell they're wearing," and it's kind of hard to know because whatever they're wearing, it's made to look different now, and it can be just a bit confusing.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that.
Yeah, we have a lot of them at this point. But whatever. It's an easy reward to bring in.
Yeah, they could have even done like the toxic staff and stuff like that. Like made that look really cool. There's a lot of options for PvPers. Even like a new Mystic set or something. I don't know.
There's I don't know. But again, I think the idea is to bring in PVMers and non-PvPers and either one.
They just want it to be full, right?
Yeah, and hopefully you convert some people into PvPers or hopefully like it'll make a wider range of brackets so it's not like just high. Like the problem with LMS, you go in there and everyone's really good. You very rarely get paired up with somebody who's learning how to PvP.
Or they're bots.
Yeah, or they're bots. Yeah. And that's tricky. So there we got some ornament kits, but we're also seeing some new blighted sacks, which are basically they allow you to cast a spell only in the wilderness. So this is gonna be for wave and surge spells. I think the blighted
really cool.
sacks are a cool addition. I can now cast entangle and teleblock without having to bring 6 different runes.
And a normal spellbook peeking is strictly the worst of all 3.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they give it a little bit of a buff.
Mm-hmm. You'll be able to get your imbued scrolls here. So anything that it's like Soul Wars and Nightmare Zone, any items that you would go to those 2 places to imbue, you can now come to the PvP arena instead, which is great. Don't force me to do Nightmare Zone because it can be kind of boring.
This is mostly for PvPers who lose a lot of Berserker rings imbued when they're PKing.
Yeah,
so that's what that's mostly for, is for PvPers.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's an alternative to Nightmare Zone if you want to do it that way.
And now to some of the unique items. So they say here, as with a lot of different PvP items, when you die with it, when you get PK'd with it, they become a broken version and a bunch of money drops for the player. You then have to go and repair it. But it looks like that also means if you're in farther than 30 wilderness, if you die with it, you'll lose it forever. Unless you have a Trover parchment, which you can use to protect your item in deep wilderness. The first item we're going to talk about is the wristbands of the arena. This is basically an alternative to Barrow's gloves, but you only require 20 defense for these, whereas Barrow's gloves, you need 41 defense to use them. So quite interesting. Might be a little way reviving the initiate piercing. You don't see them anymore, but I used to love them back in the day. The people who had 20 defense.
This is the Barrow's gloves, right?
Yeah, and you can also imbue them as well. Which
the only thing I just dislike that they're better than Barrow's gloves. So now they're the new best in slot. So if you're
Oh,
like
are they?
someone who has they're slightly better accuracy. So if you're someone who has Barrow's gloves and wants to PvP, like that content is dead because you have to go and do this.
Oh yeah, you are right, because you can imbue these gloves, and which increases and makes them a little bit better than Barrows. At least for your accuracy.
I quite dislike that because it's. I mean, like yeah, PvPers don't like doing quests, but this is a grindy game, and I feel like removing PvP completely from the rest of the game is a mistake. So having people go through their accounts and like have to grind the quests and get up the levels is a good part of the account building process. This is just kind of like getting people to be able to. It's encouraging people to skip all of the quote boring stuff like questing and leveling and just go straight to PvPing, where you can just get all your best items by just PKing. Which I don't know. I just generally disagree with. I don't mind there being an equivalent for Barrow's gloves that you can obtain, but like at least make them slightly worse, or so to reward people for who are also playing the rest of the game.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
Now they haven't come out with exactly how much these are going to drop on the ground when you are killed. But I would assume that these are going to be much more expensive than Barrow's gloves, and they do only work in PvP. Again, though, does that really matter? People want to min max when they're PvPing, so they might go straight for this. Is it a bad thing for PvPers to be able to get their account out by only PvPing? It might be debatable, because I get what you're saying.
That's the topic that I'm trying to debate. It's like, do we want PvP or old school RuneScape to be completely separate from the main game, or do we want PvPers integrated into the game? Because as far as I can tell, they're almost living in a separate world, and these updates are just further separating them from me being a non-PvPer. I'm just bringing up the argument. I'm not sure which side of the fence I actually sit on.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, because part of the fun of this game is how like sandboxy it is, and I love like account building. I like when people like come up with these cool account builds, and coming up with what quests you can do is part of it. And having to dedicate the time to, get your account into that cool spot through PVMing and both questing is a pain in the ass. So on one hand, I get it. It sucks. You just want to kill people. It's annoying that you need to invest hundreds of hours potentially. You can tell that my reference of time is completely off because of this game, but you can dedicate a lot of time to getting your account ready without ever PvPing. So on one hand, that kind of sucks. It would be nice to jump into PvP right away. On the other hand, the beauty of this game is how intermingled everything is. Yeah, I don't know. For the longest time, I've always wanted everything to be kind of jumbled together. But I think as we see with the wilderness, like a lot of people aren't happy, both PvPers and PVMers being forced to go to PVM hotspots.
PvP hotspots.
Yeah, or PvP and PVM, right? Rev's Caves is like a lot of I've been PKing on my pier recently, because I got to a spot where I've been enjoying PKing, and I've been recommended to go to the Rev Caves. So I go to the Rev Caves, and you find a lot of PVMers there, and you also find pures that I get into fights with. But it would be nice to not have to world hop for like 40 minutes only killing PVMers until I see a pure.
Yeah, but that's the reality of the wilderness. Like, it's so dead that there are people who will be streaming PvP and they won't get into fights for like hours with other people because they're just hopping around looking for people to fight.
Yeah, so that
and we're gonna get to another item that's gonna make that even worse. So
okay, let's get into it.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I want to hear other people's thoughts too, because I can definitely see where it's like you're kind of splitting the scenes up in two ways. It's kind of like, PvP worlds are where all the 1v1 fights happen. It used to be Edgeville. Maybe it's a little bit different, but the PvP worlds, it's much more like everyone, confined. Everyone's in the Grand Exchange. They're all, they're just duking it out in this area. You're not going to see anyone not PvPing here. Whereas with like a place like Edgeville, it's much more than just that, even though Anyway, so I'm curious to hear what other people think about. Is splitting the two scenes up a good idea? Of course, this isn't fully splitting them up, but it is pulling things. It is in a little. This could be the first steps towards like PvPers sticking to PvPers and PVMers sticking to PVMers.
Well, this arena is a place to bring both of them together, I think, is the idea.
Yeah.
On a more even playing field.
Yeah.
With the MMR system or what ELO system or whatever they're going to use. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep going through these items.
The next item is the Centurion Cuirass.
It's just a fighter torso.
Yeah. So this, where the item above allowed you to skip questing to get your Barrow's gloves, this item will allow you to skip Barbarian Assault to get your fighter torso.
This is the trend for all of these items, basically, except that they have different requirements to wear. So I think this one is not 40 defense. It's something different. 30 maybe.
It does require 40 defense to use, but it has slightly higher defensive stats than the fighter torso.
So once again, it's better. It's a straight up upgrade. Better.
The next is Calamity Chest and Breeches. They have some lore here. They randomly are tossing it in here, but Calamity Armor was once shared between the three infamous followers of an ancient god, Meoma, Seika, and Korif. The Calamity Coven sought to emulate their deity and take control of their fate, and they reasoned that wealth was their only means to do so. They believed that each and every person had the right to do whatever they needed to take control of their life, and if they were too weak, then others would take control for them. With these shared beliefs spurring them, they brought about what is known as the Calamity, the complete downfall of the once glorious duel arena. Once a bustling hive of healthy competition, under their reign of tyranny, it quickly became a dark and corrupt place. Another nod at the old staking scene. Even years after the Calamity Coven retreated into the shadows, the arena is still fighting to shed its iniquitous, the words that I don't understand, reputation. This is a set of PvP armor, and it's void armor. It is basically a set of void armor. So hybrid armor, it looks like. The chest and breeches have no requirements to wield, whereas there is 3 different tiers. There is the Calamity Chest and Breeches, the Superior Calamity Chest and Breeches, and then the Elite. So the Superior will require 50 defense, and the Elite will require 75 defense to use.
Yep. So this is basically Void, Elite Void, and then like a baby version of Void. So it's switching up the meta a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But not requiring you to do the Western Hard diaries to get the elites.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I think it's a straight upgrade. So.
And next is Meoma's headgear set.
And these are just the helmets, correct?
Okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, these are the void helmets. So Meoma was the corrupt captain of the Emir's guard. Her job was to oversee fights at the arena and ensure that order was upheld, but in reality, she was taking bribes to look the other way. Some say she even instigated some of the fights to make the arena more popular and recruited prisoners to bolster the fighters' ranks. Another nod at the staking scene. They really went hard with tying in a bunch of lore into the staking scene. So yeah, these are just 3. There's the medium helmet, the full helmet, and the great helm. And it basically increases your melee accuracy and damage, and the range damage you receive is also reduced. So similarly, there's 3 different versions: 50 defense, 75 defense, for the full helm and great helm. Korf's headgear set. So this is the ranged variant, and similarly, this increases your range damage, but reduces magic damage received. I don't think Void does any of this, does it? It doesn't have damage reduction. Yeah, interesting.
So this is just a straight buff to Void as well, which is kind of following the pattern that we're seeing here.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, Seika's headgear, which is the magic version. Increased magic accuracy and damage while reducing melee damage received. Interesting. Yeah, there it is. Some other ideas that they haven't actually, they're less confident about, it seems like, is they say a humble version of chivalry and piety, the piety prayers. They're
Yeah.
unsure about these, but they have it. And then a new left click teleport that can be used up to level 30 wilderness. This way you don't have to do Monkey Madness 2 to get this Royal Sea Pod.
So it's for one defense pures.
Yeah, that's another idea they're pitching.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is there. So a lot of these items are just a PvP only items of what we already have that are a little bit better, of course, right? If you're going to be PvPing in Void, you're going to want to get this sort of this gear instead. The question is that a bad thing, or is that or not? I think it's actually kind of a good thing. It's going to give a bunch of PvPers their own items. They don't need to go do pest control. They can now get strictly PvP items, and it only works in PvP.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit more pessimistic about this change. I wish they weren't just straight better. Like equivalent would be okay because then either one would be good. But now there's no reason for you to grind Barrow's gloves. You can just train with a regen bracelet and then, just go ahead and get these things and then just go PK your heart out.
Yeah, but at the same time, I could see it if somebody really doesn't want to do Recipe for Disaster. That can be a bit of a slog. And I know with my Pure itself, I've been working on it since like 2016, or I think that was the year I started it. It can be a bit of a slog when you have to do a bunch of questing. I had to do a bunch of skilling. I had to get my thieving up, gross, and my agility up. God damn. And I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it's old school RuneScape, and PvP shouldn't just be exempt from the game being a grind, because it certainly is. I don't know. I'm sure plenty of people will disagree with me, but it just feels like we're even further removing the two communities. Yeah, but you know what? That might be the way to do it.
Set them up their own server at this point and get them out of here.
Well, the PvP arena, right? That's giving your own little spot for all the action to happen.
Like, okay, here's a philosophical question for you. If they just removed the wilderness, just got removed, would you care?
I would. I definitely would care.
Okay, now that's fair because you and I are both wilderness junkies. We both love the wilderness, and you like the PvP as well. But I bet you, if we asked them, a lot of people in the game, I actually don't know what the answer would be.
You'll see. I frequent the subreddit, which is a very it's like the back alleys. You see some real sketchy people around those parts. But a lot of you do often see people saying like they want the wilderness to be like not dangerous while also yielding some decent rewards.
That's stupid. The wilderness should be a place where you can make great high levels of money with high risk, high reward. Mm-hmm. That's what the wilderness should be like. If you just need to make some quick cash, it'll be one of the better money makers in the game, like old school Revs was. But it comes at a big risk. So you can't just go there for no reason. Yeah, I don't know, but it's tough. I think it'd be a bad thing if we remove the wilderness personally. It's too iconic to the game. But I'm just curious what the community would think about that.
I think a lot of people want I think people get pissed when they have to go grind a dragon pickaxe or one of the rings or whatever it is in the wilderness, and they end up getting PK'd. They don't really want to be there doing it, but they need the item, and they just get caught up.
Yeah, but that's an argument about the dragon pickaxe being in the wilderness in the first place, which is a completely different argument in my opinion.
So I think there's a bunch of people who dislike that sort of interaction, and they would say, I would rather just removing the PvP aspect.
That's straight Iron Man though, that problem. And I personally think that the dragon pickaxe, I've said this before on the podcast, the dragon pickaxe needs to be available from another location that isn't just the wilderness.
Mm-hmm. No, I'd agree.
I once suggested like 1,000 nuggets from Motherlode Mine or like 500 unidentified minerals would be a reasonable price to buy a dragon pickaxe. Mm-hmm. So that would be some non-PVM ways to get a dragon pick. Mm-hmm. Which would also be cool for Iron Man skillers, who I'm sure desperately want a dragon pick.
I mean, it makes sense. It's weird so they've been doing this problem for a while, where the wilderness is my all-time favorite part of RuneScape. I might not do it a whole bunch like I used to, but I mean, I named the whole podcast The Wilderness because of how iconic I felt the wilderness was. I quit in 2007 when they removed it. And I came back, and one of the things I was most excited to do was go PvPing in the wilderness. And I've played a bunch of different MMOs, and that type of PvPing just doesn't really exist in most MMOs. It's very rare that you find a PvP system where if you die, you lose your items that you had on you, and the person who killed you gets those items. It's not super common because it's a very punishing PvP system, but it is exciting. It can be like kind of scary if you're like, I don't know, if you have a lot of money on you and you're trying to make it out of the wilderness. It can be kind of sketchy. Now, the problem is that there's just less people PKing in the wilderness anymore because there's less people in the wilderness, there's even less people in the wilderness because now I have to spend 20 minutes looking for someone before I fight someone. Screw it. I'm just going to go woodcut. I'm going to go do something else because hopping worlds a dozen times isn't that much fun. And it's like, how do you bring more people into the wilderness? So they add PvP stuff, PVM stuff, they add skilling stuff. Those people don't want to be in the wilderness, but they're also like, well, the money's kind of good, so let's go try it. And now you're killing these people who aren't really fighting back, and you're like, it's better than not fighting anyone, but it's, I was PKing all today, and I got into a couple pure fights, but it would be like 20 PVM fights before I saw a pure. Because you're just hoping you both world hop in the same world at the same time. And then if that happens, you both fight each other. That always happens. You forget about the PVMers and you fight each other, but it's kind of rare.
Yeah, for sure. But well, hopefully this PVM arena can change that. It has a lot of potential. Despite my pessimistic views on some of the upgraded armor and pieces, I do think this has a lot of potential to be good for the game.
Yeah, and I was thinking that like this has potential to be not great for the game as well, because what happens if like what if this pulls PvPers from the wilderness to just do this PvP arena? Because they're like, well, I want to just fight people.
Then the wilderness is dead. Yeah, that's of course one of the downsides.
Yeah, there's the PvP arena. I'm quite excited for this. I've been wanting something like this for a while, and if they can get a good MMR system going, it'll be perfect. I think it'll be really awesome.
Thank God they removed that amulet that they were going to put on.
What was the amulet?
They don't even have it. It was basically in a fury that was going to give you a respawn. So if you died, you respawn with like X amount of health, which is bad for the reason that, yes, obviously PVMers can just wear it and then have an extra life. But the real problem with that amulet was like, okay, let's say I'm just an insane PKer Dills. Like, and I have max gear, like 400 mil worth of gear in the Rev Caves on me. And you're just a dude who's in Mystics. Maybe he's got like 10 mil risking in AGS or something, or like a toxic staff. You would fight me most days of the week because even though I have better DPS than you, you can, if you believe in your abilities, you can stack me out with the right combination of specs. That's your window to get the kill on me. Like drop an AGS Gmaul and get the kill, and then all of a sudden you're up 400 mil. For like very little risk. But suddenly you give the person with 400 mil who's likely already a better PKer because they're risking more in the wilderness. You give them this amulet that gives them a respawn. All chances of killing them go out the window because even if you do get a Rambo spec and happen to finish them off, they'll revive, combo eat, you have no spec anymore and you're dead. So all of a sudden this person is genuinely impossible to kill. So that's the true reason. Also, they removed the stupid like the antifreeze potion. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah. I don't see it. The
one where you could chug it and not get tangled or something like that.
Oh yeah, remember. Okay.
That was also pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Anyways, we move on because they did not make it into the blog. So basically, it's just the reskinned armor that made it through. So
yeah, it should be interesting to see.
Sure.
There is the PvP arena. Should we hold raids 3 till next week?
Yeah, I think so. Why don't we just end it here and then like play a song and then we can do raids 3 next week? Because that's a big discussion.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, guys. There's the PvP arena. Should be interesting to see how it comes out. Let us know what you guys think. Are you a PvPer? Are you a PVMer? Tell us your thoughts on the PvP arena and what you think it will do for the future of the PvP scene. But yeah, with that being said, let's take a quick break and we'll come back because we got a couple of calls. Okie dokie, we're going to take a quick little break, head on over to the Grand Exchange where we talk about how you can support the show, really. Guys, you might have noticed I changed the intro a little bit. I was doing some reflecting, and I like to change things up once in a while. So to all the Patreon supporters and Buy Me a Coffeeers and Disco server boosters, I apologize. You guys are missing out on your pre-show, or what do they call it? The pre-roll shout out. But you guys still get it here. So yeah, this is how we roll. We just like to switch things up every now and then. So guys, if you want to support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. So I want to welcome Tommy and D. Claude to the Patreon crew this week. And one of the goodies you get from being a Patreon supporter, one of the top tier supporters, you get a shout out every single episode. So thank you to Splemo, Szechuan Strosity, Mallard, Twisted Soul, J Blast, Z Space, Chandler, Yay Fiber, and P Jackals. Thank you guys for supporting the show. We truly appreciate it. And thank you to everyone else who does support the show as well. It really, really does mean a lot. You know, some people don't like Patreon, and I totally get it. I sign up to different Patrons, and quite often I'll sign up to too many, and then I forget to unsub from some of them, and next thing you know, I'm getting billed like way more money than I had budgeted because I'm signed up to like 5 different Patreon pages instead of just the 2 that I had wanted to at the time. So I get why if people aren't really into Patreon, I get it. But, you know, we've had people still asking that they wanted to support the show and they wanted to do it through other means. So we opened up buymeacoffee.com/dills where you can make a one-time pledge. So I want to thank 2JZ Soup and Sour Punani for keeping me caffeinated this week. And finally, some people love Discord a lot. Some people want to just like buy the monthly subscription of Discord, and I can get it. So you get to use emojis from any server, and you get to use animated emojis. You get a cool little banner. There's a whole whack of stuff you get. I totally get it. I started doing it. But a couple of those people have thrown some server boosts our way, which gives us a unique URL to the Discord server, which is discord.gg/thewilderness. So I want to thank Chick and Battle Stabs for boosting the server. Thank you guys so much. All right, so let's wrap. Let's get. We have some calls. Let's get on into them. I think calls are going to become my new favorite segment of this show. So, anyways, without further delay, let's jump into that. Okay. All right, we are back, and yeah, we have a few calls, guys. We opened a call-in system. You can find a link to that app in the description. It's called SpeakPipe. You can call in and leave a message. But yeah, we got 3 messages. So let's start off with Mr. Turkleton.
Hey Dills, hey Heartless. It's currently 5 a.m. here. I'm working a night shift, doing some Slayer, killing some Bloodvelds. I was listening to episode 200 while doing the task. It's great entertainment. You specifically requested people to call in and tell you that the show sucks. So here I am. Make a better show, guys. What are you doing? But no, in all honesty, it's great fun. Keep up the great work. All the regular, usual stuff. You also said to add something about yourself, so just a short one. I'm from Israel. I created an account. First started playing during COVID, like the first wave. So I'm like a late adopter. And doing night shifts and training Slayer. That's my grind. But anyway, have a good one, guys. Peace.
Turkleton, thank you so much for calling in there, and we will try to make a better show. Oh, we'll try. We're gonna
So good.
nose to the grindstone. We're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna study. I do have to say, I could hear the birds in the background, and that was giving me some crazy flashbacks to when I was like, in high school playing RuneScape, and the sun's coming up, and the birds are waking up, and those birds were like, "Shit, I should be sleeping right now."
Yeah, the birds get up real early, don't they?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, great stuff. Thanks so much for calling in. And I get really excited to hear when somebody just started playing in 2020, in 2021, or I always had this perception for a while that a lot of us, I mean, a lot of people do play old school RuneScape. They quit, they come back, they quit, they come back, and they're like on and off. But it's always really cool when someone dives in like 2020. They didn't start back in 2015 and then quit and then come back. It's cool because it like blows my mind to think that old school RuneScape is like top 3, maybe top 5 for sure, biggest MMOs right now. Anyone who doesn't play old school RuneScape, they look at this game and they kind of scoff at it, like it doesn't look great, and it doesn't really seem like this would be one of the biggest MMOs right now. But anyone who is in the MMO scene knows that it's true. We constantly have, how many players we got on right now? There are currently 75,000 people on, and it's like kind of late on a Sunday. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Thanks for the message.
Next we got Jed Stole Fish. God damn it, Jed! Every time. Here we go.
Hey, Dills. Hey, Heartless. This is Jed Stolefish calling you guys from Michigan. And I'm a music teacher by day. I teach orchestra and, play a lot of RuneScape at night. You guys have been a really big part of my RuneScape journey so far. I've been listening to the pod for about 2 years. And, man, I just really appreciate your takes on news and updates and conspiracies and everything like that. And I appreciate the community. I'm not super crazy active in the Discord or the CC, but I get excited for people when they get the drops or big levels, and it's just you got a community of people to play with and get excited for, and that's really awesome. So you guys have been a big part of that journey for me so far, and just kind of want to say thank you and say what's up and keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, guys.
Jed, not Jed. Jed Stole Fish. Can't confuse those two.
It's a great name. That's nice. I love hearing these messages from people.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Like I would listen to other shows they would have it. It's always like my favorite part of the podcast. So it's cool. I'm glad that we decided to bring this out for 200.
It's nice for us because we do get to talk to people in game, but we don't always get to hear like all the different kinds of people and where they're listening from. It's in their car, or if they're at work, or if they're just at home doing the dishes or whatever it is. It's just nice to hear from the different people around the world that listen to the show.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like, yeah, it
definitely puts a smile on my face for sure.
Yeah, it's wicked. And yeah, it's cool hearing a little about each person. You mentioned being a music teacher. I might have talked about this story on the podcast, but I'll bring it up again, and you just stop me if I've already talked about this. And when I was in grade 9, I took music because I liked listening to music, and I thought, how cool would it be to be in like a music class? I went to a school, and everyone learned guitar. And then I transferred to a new school when I was in grade 8, and you had to pick an instrument, and I got given the trumpet. I didn't know how to play the trumpet. That was pretty rough. And I got some like sympathy grades, and I was able to pass it. In grade 9, I decided to stick with music. So you had to pick a creative class. So it was either art, music, or drama. I think those were the big 3. And I couldn't draw, I couldn't act, and I could kind of play guitar. So I was like, oh, I'll just go to this music class. And then I had to choose a brass instrument, and I was like, oh, I can't choose guitar, damn. So I picked the trumpet, but everyone else had been playing their instruments for like 5 years at this point. This was like my year one with it, and I was the worst trumpet player. And the way the tests would work is we'd get like sheet music, we'd have to play the song in front of everybody else, and then when you finished playing it, you chose who went next. So someone randomly got picked to go first, they'd play through, and then they'd pick someone to go next. I got chosen to play second every single test. Every test, I was the first person chosen after a person got randomly selected. It is because I was so bad, everyone knew that it would just take so much pressure off everyone else. So I got
Jesus still.
I had to go second every single time. And you know when you're in school and you have a friend and the friend's gonna choose you and you're like, Billy, why'd you choose me? You're a silly guy.
Yeah, it's just
But then you would have like this guy, Chad, and you've never talked to Chad and he's picking you second. And you're like,
he just knows you suck.
yeah, and you're like, bro, I don't even know you. Don't you choose a friend? What's going on right now? And then
Chad's heard you play and he's gonna drop you right in front of the music teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And then Rebecca, the next time she chooses you, and you're like, we're not even in the same like friend. Like, I don't know any of you.
We haven't even talked before. Why are you choosing me?
Yeah, that's just rude. Anyways, so that was rough.
That's funny. And yeah, music in high school. Did I tell you the story about when I was in high school music and was playing trombone?
Oh, you were a tromboner.
Yeah, so
Nice.
I played the trombone. It's a fun instrument. I played it in elementary school as well, so I was decent at it when I got to high school.
That's everyone was like that except for me because I was guitar and then there was no guitar when I went to.
Yeah, so I was the Chad who was telling Dills to go second on the quiz.
And you were just rocking it on the trombone. You're like,
yeah, it was interesting because we had like a mix of people who didn't come from who hadn't had practice. I wasn't the greatest trombone player and I didn't practice particularly hard, but I just kind of wanted to get by. Though because I was doing quite well at it, my teacher got me to try the tuba, which was really interesting.
Oh, interesting.
The tuba is a very, very big brass instrument, and I was playing it just like a simple song. He taught me a few notes, and then we started playing a tune as a group. And I was playing my little music notes, and then I started to feel very lightheaded.
Oh boy!
And the teachers, I remember him saying, "Are you okay?" And then I just passed out. Like I fell forward on my chair with the tuba. Yeah, I used so much air, it just knocked me out.
Jeez.
And then I woke up and I was just surrounded by my classmates. I think I was in grade 8.
Oh man.
I was just like this. I was just like lying next to my tuba, and they're like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I feel pretty lightheaded." And then the music teacher is like, "Yeah, I think we're gonna put the tuba away for a little bit." He explained that I'd ran out of air. It's funny.
Oh boy.
But, yeah, made for a good story. I tried playing the tuba a few more times, but my god, man, you need some big lungs for that thing.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah, it was a lot. Maybe I was just bad at it. Who knows? But it was certainly a difficult instrument, obviously, to play. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's fun times. And then I quit band pretty quickly after that. Wasn't a big fan of the teacher, I think.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
It started to get really intense. You needed to practice a lot, and I was just more interested in sports and
RuneScape,
girls and stuff. At the time, not so much music. This wasn't my thing.
Yeah,
it was all good. But,
crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, but that's nice to hear from an orchestra teacher. That must be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Can't say I know anything about orchestras at all, except they have a lot of people in them.
What is the difference between an orchestra and a symphony?
Or a symphony orchestra?
Are they the same thing?
It must be to do with the composition of instruments that are involved in the group.
A symphony is a large scale musical composition.
Okay.
With 3 or 4 movements. An orchestra is a group of musicians with a variety of instruments, which usually includes the violin family. Is that right?
Okay, cool.
This is Symphony Nova Scotia. So
we'll get Mod Jed to call in and let us know if it's right or not.
I feel like he's like a harmonica player.
Yeah, for sure. You said we had a third one as well?
We got a third one from Tom. So let's hear it.
Nice.
Hi, Dills. Hi, Heartless. And hi, everyone listening. My name's Tom, and I'm from Liverpool in the UK. I'm a dog walker, and I'm currently out with Lucky, Callie, and Jake, wherever he is. I can't see him right now. My account name is McBonzo. He's a main account. I don't really get much chance to play these days, what with work, and I've just moved out into my first house with my girlfriend. But I just wanted to say, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. You're keeping me entertained while I'm out braving the elements, making my days go quicker. Hopefully looking forward to, if I get the time, playing the bingo with everyone. I'm currently doing a bit of a Sarachnis grind because I play mobile, and it's pretty much the only boss that I can do while still enjoying playing the game. I'm on about kill 920 at the moment, trying to get that pet. So yeah, thanks for the podcast, and keep it up.
Nice to hear a Scouse accent on the podcast. My dad's from Liverpool.
Oh, cool.
So half of my family lives there. Well, all my family lives in England. Half of them live in Liverpool, and half live in a tiny town called Whitehaven in Cumbria. So
Interesting.
It's funny. It just sounds like my dad and all half my relatives.
Maybe it is.
It's very, very distinct English accents.
Man, we might have to go a little Maury on this, and maybe McBonzo's your dad. Yeah,
no, my dad. I saw my dad today. So unless he flew to England,
was he walking
dogs?
Imagine you go see your dad. He's got like 6 dogs.
He also
with
sounds
him.
a lot older, so we'll give him that too.
Maybe not. Yeah,
that's cool.
We'll hold the conspiracy music for today, but
yeah, man, Sarachnis is a good boss to do. There's other things you can do on mobile as well, boss wise. There's Giant Mole. I've heard of people even going as far as learning, Gauntlet on mobile, it being quite doable. There are a few. You can do Barrows. Cerberus wouldn't be too bad. There's a bunch of different things you could do.
Yeah, it's hard. It's learning PVM on your phone is like a whole different skill, and it doesn't translate from the computer. I've tried to do like bosses that I'm like, oh, I can do it easily on the computer. I should be able to do it on my phone. It's a bit trickier. You really got to get the hang of things, like doing Vorkath and stuff.
You could certainly do it, but you're right. It would take some skill.
It takes a bit to get used to it. But yeah, I know there's a bunch of mobile only players out there, and you can easily do any piece of content. There's people who do the Inferno, they do raids, the people PvP
Theater
on their
Blood,
phone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's probably easier on an iPad. What I find hard on a phone is like tapping very accurately, whereas on a computer, it's really easy to click the exact tile that you need to go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, on mobile, it's a lot trickier. But that's really cool. Mobile only. Sarachnis is a good grind. My God, every single team went dry last bingo on the Sarachnis pet. So they'll love to have a Sarachnis grinder on the team. Go and get the cudgel. Yeah, speaking of, bingo is coming out. The sign up sheet is already to go.
Yeah, what an awesome segue. Let's talk about bingo.
You can sign up on the Discord right now under event announcements. There's a Google form sign up sheet that you can sign up for. The entry fee is $2 million. You'll certainly make a lot more than that if you enter. I can pretty much guarantee that. And yeah, it's running on the 25th of March till the 1st of April. It should be a lot of fun. We have a 6x6 board this time. The picture is already out, so you can go check out all of the tiles. There's content for all levels and all sort of skill and time commitments. So even if you can only play like an hour a day or even less than that, the teams, I don't think I mentioned the teams are going to have about 15 people each. So the variations of time doesn't really matter. We balance the teams so they have like, let's say there's 5 or 10 people that sign up that can only play, 3 hours in the whole week. We'll make sure they're all on different teams. So one team isn't just stacked with people that play a bunch. And like every little bit helps when it comes to bingo. There's a lot of tiles you can do on mobile or at work this time, because I know it's kind of during the end of March, which isn't always the most convenient time if you do work in the week. But yeah, there's lots of options, and I highly recommend coming out. You can make a lot of friends doing it, make a lot of money, and try new content.
People really like it. People have a great time, and teams make a shit ton of money, even if you don't win. If you're just participating, a good chance you'll walk away with a fair bit.
Yeah, I made 200 mil last time, so that's pretty good.
Very nice.
Obviously got a little lucky on the drops, but you can make boatloads of money. I remember back to like the first bingo when the board was really bad. but Szechuan Wan got like, we were going for, I can't even remember what it was, maybe like an ACB or something, but he got like 2 or 3 Ceridome and Hilts back when they were like 40 mil a piece. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So the man just was like frustrated, but still walked out with like well over 100 mil.
In there. Yeah, and then everyone wins.
Yeah, and there's just pets that drop left and right. It's just outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, highly suggest it. So yeah, come on through on the Discord and sign up. And yeah, you'll have a lot of fun.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, there'll be a link to sign up in the description below of this episode, as well. There's always a Discord link there. So if you're not in the Discord and you want to join, boom, it's right there. It's also discord.gg/thewilderness. But yeah, it should be pretty good. Anything else to mention before we start doing all the, they call it housekeeping in the industry?
No, I have a song for us this week though.
Awesome. Okay, sweet. We'll get that in a second. Guys, with this new voicemail service thingy, you can leave a message in the app, and I'm going to put the message out there now. If you were to think of a memory that involves PvP of some sort, what comes to mind? Call in, let us know what you think. One of the first memories I always think of is being at the library with my brother and a friend, another friend, and we'd be on the computers. And my job was I didn't really have a job. I was the woodcutter, and you can't do anything with wood cutting. I had my one buddy, he was mining, and my brother was fishing. So he was getting the food, and the guy who was mining was getting us mithril armor because we were going to go PKing. We spent like an hour and a half gearing up. We went out,
slaughter people,
instantly got destroyed by like somebody in full room.
Oh, the mithril slaughter.
Yeah, it was rough.
That's so good. Yeah, PvP was an integral part of like my childhood memories. So yeah, it'd be great to hear some stories.
Yeah, so definitely call in with the link below. You don't have to tell us PvP stories. You can, again, tell us whatever it is that you want to tell us. But yeah, guys, we have a clan Wild in game. You can join or hang out as a guest. We have a discord.gg/thewilderness. Our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. You can still send us emails if you don't want to call in. That is also perfectly fine. And that is that it? I think that's it. Heartless, what do you got? What do you got for us?
All right, let's go with Barak. It's the track you unlock in Arty, I'm pretty sure. Always reminded me it was always a favorite of mine when I was younger.
How do you spell that?
Basically, Baroque. Yeah, all of sort of the main hubs, like obviously around Steers Village, there's some classics. Taverley, there's some great ones. But yeah, all the major cities have memorable tracks.
Wow, that's not on the music list. That's a first.
It's not.
It's there, but it's not on the actual chart that has all the different soundtracks. So we got to add that in. But it's still on the wiki. So Baroque is unlocked in the Ardoin market, or Ardoin. That's what it is. Ardoin market. It's a reference to Baroque era of music, and violin, double bass, guitar, harp, vibraphone, don't know what that is, glockenspiel, don't know what that is either, xylophone, and bells are all used on this song.
The xylophone.
What did I say?
You said xylophone.
Xylophone? Yeah, this is the X is there.
Yeah, xylophone.
No, see that?
See?
No, see, it's not as bad. It's an X.
That's how you pronounce it.
Xylophone.
No, it's xylophone.
No, because it would be yes, a Z if there was.
Yeah, I need the people to help me with this one. I can't stop him anymore. He's out of control.
It's just one of those things that nobody really knows how it's actually pronounced. And we'll just leave it there for this week. We'll see you guys next week. You almost got me there, Heartless. Almost. Maybe next time.
See you guys.